I heard there was this podcast, yo, about something funny like wrestling and so. And you really care about wrestling, don't you? There are drop kicks and leases all over the board, and then something called a wrestling hold. It's a super duper fun podcast about wrestling. That wrestling show. That wrestling show. That wrestling show. That wrestling show. Well, Fro and Bill and maybe a guest or two is here to hold your hand and guide you through a podcast about wrestling. We have a lot of extreme fun, and that's without the gun, because I needed something to rhyme fun with. That wrestling show, that wrestling show, that wrestling show, that wrestling show. Well, sit your behinds gently down and listen to our podcast sound, and try to guess this week's Pro question. You win a lot of cool things, and also help Bill with his bills. That's a super duper fun competition. That wrestling show. 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 That wrestling show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to That Wrestling Show, the only podcast where all pro wrestling matters. I am Bill, along with Fro. Hello, Fro.
Hello.
And we have, news-wise, a bit of a busy week, with the big news happening last night, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Plus, we'll talk about some random news and other things that are going on in the world of professional wrestling.
Yeah, and I am in the loony bin.
Yeah, Fro went on vacation this week, folks.
I even broke my no cell phone Friday to have a podcast with Bill.
You broke your nose?
No, I broke my no cell phone Friday to be on your show today.
See how much I'm paying attention, folks?
No, I was taking a day off my cell phone just to focus on my mental health, because I am in the mental hospital again, and I'm going to be here for quite a while this time.
All right.
And for people that thinks that like you have to be incredibly insane to go to a mental hospital,
No, you don't.
there's lawyers here. There are doctors here. There are people from every side of society. I think. Have you ever seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
I was just about to mention that, actually.
That movie has done more harm to mental health care than any other movie, because everybody thinks it's like that. Like
Right.
I think one of the biggest stigmas about being mentally sick comes from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
I mean, I like the movie. I saw it. I like.
It's a fantastic movie, but it's not real to life. Like
Right.
here, people go in and out of doors. There are no locked doors here. Nurses are nice. People are not insanely crazy. People are just sad or in a different situation where they need people to take care of them.
So no Nurse Ratched then.
No.
Okay.
no, Nurse Ratched. So if I sound a little flat or down, it's because I'm not in an especially fantastic mood right now.
So I'm gonna take it you did not see The Masked Singer this week.
I did not, but I have spoiled myself and saw that it was Ricky Lake.
I sort of figured it was Ricky Lake.
Yeah,
that was sort of an easy one.
Yeah,
I'll tell you the one that I can't figure out is the
Lion,
the monster.
Yeah, I don't figure out. I don't know the monster and I don't know the lion. Rest, I'm pretty sure who is.
Now a friend of mine said she thinks the lion could be Carrie Underwood.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Because well, listen to her sing next time. Listen to how good of a voice she has, and she brought up a good point. Because this was way before she announced that she was pregnant. I didn't know she was pregnant, so it shows you how much I pay attention.
I mean, who's the biggest star so far? I would say the first football player, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Because Ricky Lake, I mean, Tori Spelling is not big.
Well,
Terry Bradshaw.
There was a point about 10
years ago. Yeah, in the 90s.
But there was a point 10 years ago where she was a big star.
Yeah, but that's 10 years ago. I'm talking about now. Carrie Underwood would be pretty big scoop for them.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, because we did hit the halfway point now.
Yes.
We hit the halfway point where we know now they're going to have a second season.
Yes.
So that's good news. If you could just give me a new crop of judges, I'll be fine.
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't want judges in the second season. I just want the clues without the judges. And I think they may need to make the clues a little more difficult to figure out.
Good point.
Yeah. What else of reality did we talk about? Oh, let's talk about that amazing football game.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my God.
That fantastic football game I stayed up for.
First off, I on behalf of all Americans, Fro, I apologize for you having to stay up to see that shitty game. I mean, I'm sorry. You're in the Super Bowl. You're supposed to play the damn game.
Yeah.
It's like nobody wanted to play.
It's like I was joking to Luke. I've scored more than the teams have.
Well, I mean, it ended up being the lowest combined score in Super Bowl history.
I mean, one fucking touchdown.
One touchdown.
And the rest of it was like field goals. That's really, really, really bad.
Now, I'm not going to bash, the defense. The both defenses came to play. They did a good job.
Oh, yeah.
But, my God, come on, do something. At one point, and I think, Fro, you saw this on Facebook, I had posted that the MVP of the Super Bowl should have been us, the fans, for having to watch that.
I actually said that on another digital citizen. We were talking about the Super Bowl. I said that that quote was from you, and that's perfect. That fits perfectly. Because I mean, even the commercial this year, the commercial was absolutely nothing to write home about. It was
there wasn't one that stuck out to me.
One of the worst years of commercials as well. And so many car commercials.
Oh, well, yeah, so car. Now, I do have to explain. I missed Gladys Knight singing the national anthem because I was with my dad taking one of my nephews, back home after his basketball game, which they won, by the way. So I didn't get to hear the national anthem. Was it as bad as everyone said it was?
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the best part. The halftime act.
Yeah, was it the best part though?
I've heard from people it was the worst halftime show they've ever seen.
It's up there. It's definitely. I mean, if I want to pay to see, well, I didn't pay anything, but if I want to see, a stripper, I go to a strip bar. I'm not sure if Adam Levine shirtless is amazing, and they screwed us over with the SpongeBob SquarePants song.
I'd heard about that, but I'm not a big SpongeBob fan, so.
But teasing it and not delivering, that's such a bad thing to do.
There's nothing else really to do or to say on that one. It just happened. Yeah. It could have been, time reasons, so.
But congrats to the Patriots. I know.
Fuck Tom Brady.
What else did we talk about last week that was reality-based?
Well, we briefly talked about Celebrity Big Brother just to see if Eva Marie is still on.
And she's still in there.
Wow. How?
Yeah. Kato Kalin was the last one to go out.
Kato?
Yeah.
No!
Yeah.
Come on.
He took with him a bloody glove, and he went away.
God. Wow. Do I even want to ask if it fit?
Yeah, and he went out of there in the white raincoat.
Oh, God damn it.
Oh, people not born in the 90s will not get that reference.
Exactly.
I think it's but no, she's still in there. She's still annoying.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 left. So we're almost at the halfway point.
Yeah.
And of course, if she wins, it means absolutely nothing to us.
Oh, she's not going to win.
No. Oh, God, no. If she does, I'll be shocked. But I doubt it.
I'm going to be so pissed off if she wins.
All right.
Wrestling?
Yeah, let's get into some real news here.
Some real news, yeah.
Real news.
About the fake sport, yes.
Well, let's start off with Roman Reigns. Now, Roman. Now, this is not. I don't have any update on his condition, but he's been doing some different projects as of late. Earlier this week, there was a photo of him with The Rock as they're filming the new Fast and Furious movie, which there was a commercial for during the Super Bowl. So expect Roman Reigns to be in that movie.
Can I ask you something? Does that undermine his cancer argument for not being inside the ring filming? Is it almost like, oh, I had cancer, let's go and do a movie? Does it feel a little like that? Because it feels a little like that for me.
Not really. Only because, and I'm going to say only because, it's not as physically demanding as being a professional wrestler.
Right.
With a professional wrestler, you're taking bumps, you're doing these moves, your body's getting hurt night in, night out. With a movie, you got a stunt double, And, you don't have to do all the hard work. You just have
But
to...
I thought one of his arguments was that he wanted to be home with his family and focus on his cancer treatment. This isn't really... This is like he's still occupied with making a fucking movie.
Well, I mean, I don't think he's got a big role in the movie.
Okay.
But he's still in the movie.
Okay, yeah, no, I mean, if it's one day of filming, we're not talking about editing, but I thought maybe he had a bigger role.
Right. No, I understand. But speaking of Roman Reigns and entertainment, he is going to appear on a future episode of Nickelodeon's hit show, Cousins for Life.
Never heard of it.
Oh, it's a new show. So, the episode is scheduled to air on Saturday, March the 2nd. In the episode, Roman Reigns plays Leaf's neighbor, Rodney, who is angry that Leaf's pet pig dug up his vegetable garden.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
Well, I'm describing what the episode is.
Yes, but who is Leafy?
We're going to get to that in a minute.
Oh.
However, Stewart, Ivy, and Leaf discover there's more to the story and come up with a plan to save their pig. Cousins for Life tells the story of 12-year-old cousins and best friends, Stewart and Ivy, as they learn to navigate life under one roof with their families in Portland, despite being from very different backgrounds. So I'm going to guess that Leaf is a friend of one of the main characters.
I have absolutely no clue.
That's a guess.
This sounds as interesting as chemo can therapy. So.
Oh, jeez. So
what? I'm not in the group. Sorry, I'm not 5 years old.
So, yeah, if you got kids who watch Cousins for Life, Roman Reigns will be on in about 3 weeks.
So how long has this show been on?
I think it just started like a year ago. Maybe not even a year ago.
Can you okay, here's a little test for me. Mention 3 shows from Nickelodeon and you think I have heard of that's on the Nickelodeon.
That are on right now or all time?
Yeah.
Oh, now.
Right now.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna give you the freebie, SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yes, of course.
The Loud House.
Nope.
Really? Oh, you'd enjoy that one.
Nope, never heard of it.
And Henry Danger.
Nope.
Oh,
Things you recommend?
Loud House, definitely Loud House.
Okay.
It's got that.
Let me guess. Is it about a house that's very loud?
You're half right and half wrong. It is about a family. Well, it's about a boy who is one of 11 children.
Oh.
So it's sort of like the Hearts. If you want to put a wrestling term or wrestling connection on this, it's sort of like the Hearts. So he's the only boy in the family. There are 10 girls, and their last name happens to be Loud.
Oh.
And
okay. I get it.
And all the kids' names start with the letter L.
So like Levi Loud?
Could be.
Yeah. Lars Loud.
Oh, yeah. I enjoy the show. I love it. It's great. It's got some good jokes in there.
I really didn't know that SpongeBob was a Nickelodeon show, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
All right, let's get back to wrestling. One of the premier wrestling tournaments in the United States is the Super 8 tournament that ECWA has held pretty much every year since 1997.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
It's a big tournament, or at least to me, it's still a big tournament. This year's Super 8 tournament has a twist to this year's tournament. Because this year, all the competitors in the tournament are either second or third generation professional wrestlers.
Oh, that's a cool concept.
And we have 6 participants announced so far.
Okay.
So
out of 8, I'm guessing.
Out of 8, yep.
That was a joke.
Very good. Very good.
Yes,
You win the prize.
I can count to 6. Wow.
So we have Brian Pillman Jr., the son of Brian Pillman.
I could never guess that with his name.
Colby Carino, the son of Steve Carino.
Okay.
Ross and Marshall Von Erich, the sons of Kevin Von Erich.
Wow.
Timothy Zabisco, the son of Larry Zabisco.
Mm-hmm.
And Lance Anoa'i, the son of Samu Anoa'i.
Wow. Have you seen any of these people?
I've seen Lance before.
Okay.
When we did the convention last year, he and his dad stopped by and they shook our hands. They were very nice people, very respectful.
Oh, I mean wrestle.
Yeah. Well, I also saw him wrestle too.
Okay.
Brian, I've seen clips of. Kobe, I think I have seen. I might have seen the Von Erich boys. I'm not really sure. Zabisco, I have not seen. Timothy Zabisco. Okay. Even though he was a Pro Wrestling Illustrated Rookie of the Year, so.
Really?
So it shows you that there are credentials with him. So.
I'm excited for that tournament.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see who they get as the last 2.
It would be funny if Cody Rhodes would be allowed to be in it.
Well, by default, he is a second generation wrestler, so
that was my point. Yeah.
You know, we have some WWE Hall of Fame news to discuss. Now, WWE has not officially announced this yet, so I'm gonna say, okay, how can I put it this way? It is
rumor has it.
Yeah,
rumor has it.
Rumor has it that the first members to be announced into the Hall of Fame this year will be the Hart Foundation.
Oh, that would be fucking amazing.
But, and this is something that I have to mention, this is an important part. This is the tag team Hart Foundation, not the stable. So it is Bret Hart, Jim Neidhart, and Jimmy Hart who will go into the Hall of Fame.
That would still be amazing, though.
So what happens here is Jimmy and Bret would be inducted into the Hall of Fame for a second time, which has only happened once with Ric Flair. And Jim Neidhart now officially will go into the Hall of Fame this coming year.
But they are not the main card, right?
Not at the moment.
No. Because I think it's so funny. We saw this thing that the WWE sent out, and they said Hall of Famer, the Undertaker, will be and I was like, yeah, that sounds correct.
But I will say this though, the Hart Foundation is one of my favorite tag teams of all time.
Mine too.
They could have a great tag match with just about any team in that period. I mean, it doesn't matter if it was the Bulldogs, Demolition, the Killer Bees, the Brain Busters, the Rockers, the Legion of Doom. I mean, I could.
Yeah, I mean, that would be an amazing name to have in. I mean, it's that would be amazing. But I would love that.
Now, of course, the question is, and it hasn't been confirmed yet, will former referee Danny Davis be inducted as a member of the Hart Foundation? Because there was that angle in '87 where he was a referee. He basically helped the Harts win the tag titles. He got fired. He became a wrestler, and he hung out with Jimmy Hart and the Hart Foundation. So, you know what? Honestly, I wouldn't mind if he got inducted with them. I really wouldn't. I'd be fine.
I don't think it will. I don't think it will happen.
Okay, and that's understandable. It may not happen. So,
I mean, we have had factions where people haven't been included before,
right.
So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, and of course, like we said, it's not definite. It's not official,
rumor has it,
but yeah, it's a big rumor, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get it real soon.
Just like the Undertaker is the main event this year.
Okay, now I'm actually glad you brought up the Undertaker because there was an interesting article that somebody posted, and I read this, and we've sort of had this discussion in the past. Money. Basically, appearance money. Because if you're a promoter and you get into professional wrestling, you have to pay these wrestlers for appearance. And if you have like a former WWE wrestler, you have to pay them extra. I remember a few years ago there was a story where Melina's pay was like she wanted $10,000 with hotel being paid and other stuff. So the Undertaker. Now Undertaker, we don't ever think of him as this, how can I put this? Not a money guy. Like, he doesn't really need the money.
No.
But if you were to get the Undertaker for, let's say, an appearance, and you give me your honest to goodness price, Fro, how much would you pay?
For an Undertaker appearance?
Yes.
I think I will shock you with this price, but at least 25,000.
You must have read this story.
No, okay. I'm not joking.
Okay.
No.
Well,
is that what this is asking?
Well, let me tell you.
Okay.
In the recent edition of the Observer newsletter, there was a report on the asking price for The Undertaker for his upcoming signings and appearances. According to the report, he is charging $25,000 per hour.
Okay, yeah, but no, I'm not that fucking insane.
For his appearances and booking dates in the United States.
If I booked The Undertaker for 25,000, I would have him at least there for normal working hours, like 8 hours or something. Yeah, no, I would not pay 25,000 for an hour.
But Fro, here's the thing. And then what I'm about to say might shock you. There are certain people who, when you hear or read the price that they ask for, you're probably like, oh, this is ridiculous. Why would you do that? The Undertaker makes sense. It makes perfect sense. I cannot argue with that. I mean, look,
25,000 for an hour, though?
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, it would be like, I'd imagine if you'd get Hulk Hogan, his would be double that price.
Oh yeah. No, definitely.
So, honestly,
but here's the funny thing: I would rather pay 25,000 for the Undertaker than 10,000 to meet Hulk Hogan.
Right. And then I would imagine that, like if you want to get an autograph and a photo op, the prices are going to be $200, $300, $400, so you can make money back. So, It honestly doesn't surprise me, but in the same way, it makes perfect sense to me.
I mean, he's a draw, for fuck's sake.
Oh my god,
I mean,
yeah.
mhm.
How is he not a draw? So
Here's a question.
okay.
What celebrity would you pay the most for to meet?
Ooh.
How much would you be willing to pay for an hour?
I would pay $250 to meet Drew Barrymore.
Oh. Have you seen that documentary? My Date with Drew?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you should see that documentary. It's really, really good documentary. Where a totally random guy goes on a quest to date Drew Barrymore.
Even though I think she's married, isn't she?
Yeah, and she had a boyfriend at the time, or she was married at the time. I don't remember. But My Date with Drew. You should actually check that out. $250 for autograph. Okay,
oh, she's single.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. So I have a shot still. All right.
Who would I pick?
So Drew, if you're listening to this, or if anyone can, we might have to tag Drew Barrymore this week. I am single and I'm ready to mingle. We could go on a date. I'll pay for the food and the entertainment.
$250 for an autograph by Drew Barrymore. I'm trying to think, like, who I would pay the most for, and that's a really, really, really hard question. I don't know why I asked you it when I don't have an answer to it. Let me think about it while we talk.
Oh yeah, she has a Twitter account. Oh yeah, she's gonna get tagged. So Drew, if you listen to this show, this is Bill, the American, saying, I want to go on a date with you.
Yes, check out My Date with Drew. See that first. See how it went for that guy.
It's gonna go better for me.
Oh, it went pretty good, actually. I won't spoil the ending, but
okay.
It was. It's a good movie.
All right.
I will think about my answer. The first thing that came up in my mind is Nicole Kidman, but that's a little too easy. But I think, I'm going to go with Nicole Kidman. I would pay $250 for autograph as well.
Okay.
And I would hope she brought her husband with her, because I'm quite a big Keith Urban fan as well.
All right. Other news to discuss, because it really...
Oh, no, I know.
Oh,
sorry. Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I just read she got engaged recently.
Oh, man. I love her movies. Okay, anyway.
You gotta get engaged, Jennifer. We created something.
I love that we talk so much about wrestling on the show.
I know you like farts. I can fart. Anyway,
Brad Fart?
No, farts.
Yeah, Brad Fart. Instead of Brad Fart.
Okay. So, coming up in April, we have another tournament that's coming up. It's a pretty big one. The NWA is bringing back the Crockett Cup, which is a tag team tournament. Okay. And so far, 2 teams have earned their way into the tournament by winning. One did it by winning a qualifying match. That was the team of Crimson. Yes, that Crimson from TNA. And Jax Dane. 2 weekends ago, Brody King and PCO earned their way into the tournament by winning Ring of Honor's Tag Wars tournament. It was announced today that New Japan Pro Wrestling and CMLL will be sending teams to this tournament. There has been no word on who the teams are, but they're really making this an international affair, which is very good because you now have Ring of Honor, New Japan, and CMLL involved in this. It's going to be a fantastic tournament.
Cool.
And you know what? I actually missed out on the Crockett Cup because I was born in 85 and it happened from like 86 to 88. So I had
never heard of it in my entire life. So.
Oh, man, it's a famous, famous tournament. They only did it 3 times, but I mean, if you ever look it up, Fro, the list of talent that they had for those tournaments are legendary. Very legendary. All right, now let's get into the big discussion this week, and that is what happened last night. Last night was I guess you could say, second rally, or in this case, a pool party for All Elite Wrestling. Now, of course, it ended up being 40 plus degrees, so it really wasn't much of a pool party, as it was more of a, we'll just say, pool stand. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
So, let's talk about some of the key notes, some of the big things that did happen last night. And I do want to say real quick that sometime this weekend, myself and Steve Miller, not Steve Miller the singer, but we're going to do a special podcast where we're going to talk about this. But I also like to get Fro's opinion on this as well because, you know, we're a group, we're a family, you know.
Steve that actually joined us for the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Oh, how did he enjoy it?
No.
No.
But he hopefully enjoyed talking to me and Luke, so that was fun.
All right. So, let's get into...
We substituted you with another American.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're easily replaced.
So anyway, the first news, which actually broke before the press conference even happened, was on Twitter. And that All Elite Wrestling is now in a working relationship with the AAA promotion in Mexico.
So happy about this.
I will, as soon as I figure out what my computer is doing.
I mean, but this is amazing good news.
It is. Now, of course, it was announced on Twitter, and then the president of AAA Wrestling did a video wishing that he could be there, but he could not. But basically saying that they are looking forward to this relationship. They're going to do talent exchange. They're going to do, they're probably going to do shows in Mexico. So this is a big deal. And what's also interesting about this, Fro, is Impact Wrestling, I don't know if they still have a working relationship with AAA or
yes,
if they
do.
Don't.
I think they do.
So now that they do, or they have a working relationship, this is going to be very interesting because now you have AAA working with Impact Wrestling, which we've seen in the past, on TV, and they're now also going to work with All Elite Wrestling, who has yet to have a show.
I was thinking about this the other day. I don't know if you like this idea or hate it, but I think with the money that All Elite are putting into their roster and with their TV deal and everything, it would be very, very, very smart to at least approach TNA to see if they are willing to have a buy-up.
Well, the original rumor that I had read a while back was that the Bucks and Cody were going to try and buy them out. Like,
Yeah, because Cody has had a very, 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 very good relationship with TNA. Not many people know this, but it's a very well kept secret that Cody never had a bad relationship with them, and especially when Atom, what fuck was that company called again? Left.
Global Force?
Yeah, Global Force, yes. When they left and all the big hoopla around that was around there, and there was talks even of having Cody over, like, for a small promotion and things like that. And Cody has always had a good working relationship with TNA.
Well, that's the thing with Cody is, for as far as I can remember, he, has good relationships with the promotions that he's been in. It doesn't matter if it's Ring of Honor or Impact or WWE or New Japan. He has been very professional about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, he's smart enough to keep the door open. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's so bad because the roster on TNA is amazing at the moment, and the matches they are having are amazing at the moment. But there's absolutely no viewership for it, and it's so bad.
Because
it's so
they're
sad.
On a channel that no one can find.
Yeah,
basically.
And having, it's not. I'm a little afraid of TNA's future, to be honest, and I think it's sad to see them go away when they have had a period of good shows. I mean, one of my favorite shows last year was a TNA show.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens there. It'll definitely be interesting. So after that, which is big news, they go through some other news which we should bring up. The first thing is the on-sale date for tickets for Double or Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys are listening to this right now, at the moment, they are doing a pre-sale sign-up on their website. Yes, they have a website now. And it's pretty simple. It's allelitewrestling.com. So all you have to do between now and Sunday night, you click on the link that says pre-sale sign-up. You will then put your name in, your email address, and all the other stuff. So once you do that, you wait. Monday morning, you will get a code. Once you have the code, you can then purchase tickets for the event before they go on sale to the general public this Wednesday.
And I can promise you, those tickets will go like hot potatoes.
I would not be surprised if they sell out again. I would not.
All Elite, of course they will.
Then we had Adam Page come out. He talked, and Pac talked via video. So basically, that's going to be a match for Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
That's sort of a given there.
Yes.
Then we have a talk about the tag team division. The Young Bucks come out, and they announce their newest signees, best friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, have signed. So they are no longer in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And then after that, the Lucha Brothers, Rey Fenix and Pentagon, came out And this is where it gets a little interesting, and I think I'm going to want to explain this to everyone, because last weekend there was a videotape where the Young Bucks basically shook hands with Phoenix and Pentagon. So it's like, okay, they're going to come over. From what I read in from what I read, their contract is they can still compete in AAA. They can still compete in Impact Wrestling. They can still compete in MLW. So they are not going to be strictly All Elite Wrestling. They can still wrestle at different places.
And that also makes me think that All Elite has a good working relationship with TNA.
Mm-hmm. They very well could. They very well could. No, it's okay. So after that, actually the Young Bucks got beat up by Phoenix and Pentagon after that. So that's going to set up another match. We're going to get to the card in a moment, folks, of what we have at the moment. So after that, Brandy comes out and she talks about the women's division. And they have some Japanese talent that's going to come over to be at Double or Nothing. One of which is a young lady by the name of Yuka Sakazaki, who I have not heard of, but oh my goodness, she looks pretty. She looks pretty. And then another one is Aja Kong, who is a legend in women's wrestling, especially in Japan. I actually saw her at Survivor Series 95 when they had a women's Survivor Series elimination match, and she was the sole survivor of that match. So that's how important Aja Kong is. Then she announced the newest signee, a young lady by the name of Kylie Ray, who has a pretty nice gimmick. She's just this smiling girl, and she's nice, and so you have that. And another lady named Nyla Rose, who I have not seen, but she looks impressive. She's gonna be, and I want to say this in the right way to not be wrong, but she's going to be, I think, their Nia Jax of the women's division. What I mean by that is she's going to be their giant in the division. So, but watch her. There's potential there.
Is Brandy going to wrestle herself?
Huh. We'll have to wait and see.
Can she wrestle?
Who? Nyla Rose?
No, Brandy. Brandy.
Well, I don't know. I would think maybe she'll wrestle. I've seen her wrestle. She was getting better before she got injured.
I have never seen her wrestle.
Like I said, she was getting better before she got injured. She did.
Okay.
Actually, something I also forgot to announce or mention. There were a couple names that I accidentally forgot, and I do apologize. Sonny Kiss is going to be a part of Double or Nothing.
Okay.
That is a guy. And Sammy Guevara, who is the current AAA Cruiserweight Champion, is now a part of the AEW roster. So he will be a part of the organization. I've heard a lot of good stuff about Guevara, so I can't wait to see him wrestle. Then SoCal Uncensored come out, and they announced that there will be an after party after the pay-per-view is over, and the name of that after party is SCU All Night. I know. Okay. Good name. And then they bring out the contingent from OWE, Oriental Wrestling Entertainment, which they did mention in the previous rally in Jacksonville. This is a wrestling promotion from China.
Never heard of it.
China is the wrestling capital of the world. But they have one of the best wrestlers over the last 15, 20 years in Japanese wrestling in Shima, who worked in Dragon Gate for a very long time there. And we get a match made of SoCal Uncensored against Shima and any two wrestlers from OWE. So that match is made. So that's gonna happen. I'm trying to think if there's any other big thing that happened. Oh, Kenny Omega came, but that's not a big deal.
No,
but in all seriousness,
Kenny
Omega comes out, and this was pretty much. I think we all knew he was going to go to All Elite.
Yes.
Even though WWE offered him money up the wazoo. I mean, Fro, I read numbers that are unbelievable if he would have taken their deal.
Oh, I believe them.
And I'm not talking about 1 million, 2 million,
Oh,
5
no.
million. I'm talking like $15 million, $20 million. I
believe them.
They were going to give him a bunch of money. And he was like, no, I'm going to All Elite. So Kenny Omega, we find out, is an executive vice president for the company, and he signed the contract officially that morning. So Kenny Omega is now exclusively with All Elite Wrestling. It's pretty much where we all thought he was going to go. And I think in the end it's the right move for him.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's going to have a lot more freedom there than he would in WWE. Even though WWE said that they were going to let him have creative control, it's like,
Yeah, they have said that to many other people. So
Exactly. And this was the first public appearance of Kenny Omega since Wrestle Kingdom. That was over a month ago. How crazy is that?
That is crazy.
So, as Kenny Omega is wrapping up, Chris Jericho comes out.
Oh, what a surprise.
And we get a stare down. They have a little bit of a scuffle. And Kenny Omega does his catchphrase. And that wraps up the pool party for All Elite Wrestling.
Yeah, we knew Jericho would follow him.
Oh, God, yeah. So, as of this moment, there's a couple of things I want to mention. First off, the matches that have been officially announced so far are Hangman Page against Pac and SCU against Shima and two partners of his choice. Matches that we expect to happen coming out of this event, Omega and Jericho. You got to do that.
Oh, yeah.
That you got to do that. The Young Bucks against the Lucha Brothers. Got to do that. And Nyla Rose against Kylie Ray.
Mm-hmm.
So, the last three, they haven't officially been announced, but I would imagine it's going to happen. I really do. And remember earlier I mentioned, the little sign up for the pre-sale?
Yes.
For the tickets? It's over 10,000 signups already.
Wow.
Already. And it hasn't even been a full day.
What is the ticket price?
No idea. No idea. They did not say a ticket price.
$250, and you also meet Drew Barrymore.
Yep, I'm going to take Drew Barrymore to All Elite Wrestling. This is the money episode, folks. If you, that's probably going to be the name of this week's episode. The money episode. Undertaker gets $25,000 an hour. I'm going to pay $250 for Drew Barrymore. Oh, man.
And no kissing on the cheek.
Oh, it's got to be on the lips.
Yeah, sorry.
How about I give her a nice pat on the back?
How about she calls the police?
I said the back, not the back. Oh. There's a difference. It's a huge difference. Okay. Last piece of news. This is, I completely forgot to talk about this, folks. I've been busy all day today. I apologize. If I'm not up to par to what I usually am, I apologize. I had a busy day at work today. Just busy. But, well, I don't ever question if I'm good on the show or not. I just go like, whatever you get, you get. No, so usually after WrestleMania is the draft.
Yes.
Or, as they're now calling it, the Superstar Shakeup, which I find is a bullshit name.
It is an extremely bad name.
It is. So, during a commercial for Monday Night Raw this week, if you live in Montreal, it was announced that on April the 15th and April the 16th, the Superstar Shakeup will take place at the Bell Center in Montreal. Now, what I'm about to say next could be very interesting, and we can take this one of two ways, Fro.
Okay.
During the local advertisement of this event, WWE Video 1 point called this the first ever international superstar shakeup.
Okay.
So, we could take it one of two ways. We could take it the pretty easy way, which is, it's happening outside of the United States, so it's the first ever international shakeup, which, okay, it makes sense, and it would probably be true.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you can go out of left field and come with this weird idea that NXT and NXT UK are going to be a part of this, and some of their wrestlers could get called up. But I think it is more of it being in Montreal.
Yes.
That's my thought. That's my opinion.
I totally agree with you. I think you're reading a little too much into it if you think
Oh, yeah.
People like that will be involved.
Oh, God, yeah. Absolutely. But, so now we have the announcement. The shakeup is April the 15th and the 16th, the week after WrestleMania. So, it will be very interesting to see what happens in that time.
I made myself. Is this an okay place to... do you have any more news?
No.
Okay. I have an announcement. I'm going to stop watching wrestling if Brock doesn't lose the title at WrestleMania.
So, if Brock stays champion at WrestleMania, you are going to stop.
Yeah.
Now, do you mean just WWE or
WWE? No, WWE.
Okay.
I'm just going to give up. That was their chance.
Well, they have 2 months.
WrestleMania will either be my last pay-per-view. I'm not even sure if he loses it the day after I'm interested.
Even if he lost the day after.
Right.
You're still going to stop.
Yeah, because I understand the reason why they would do it, but I'm tired. I'm exhausted with WWE. and I don't want to support their product. I mean, I don't pay for anything they do anyways, but I also mean like moral support. I don't even I'm not going even to mention them by name. Like I'm just going to stop talking about them. And I actually mean it because I'm so tired of status quo that they have a last chance at WrestleMania to
Right.
prove to me that they can think somewhat out of the box. I think WrestleMania for me will be a do or die pay-per-view. And I know people out there is like, oh, he doesn't mean it like that. Yeah, I actually do, and I'm quite stubborn.
Yeah, he means it.
Yeah, it's not like I'm saying this to
Get
to
shock value.
shock value. I actually mean this because I fell in love with wrestling through TNA. My start was into TNA, and TNA also brought me over to WWE. And my love for WWE has gone. Like I don't love their product anymore, and it is no fault of the wrestlers. Braun Strowman will be one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Like really, he is now up there with people I hope to see in the Hall of Fame. And and people were talking about how to fix the product, and if it is that easy to put it just out of Brock Lesnar. No, it isn't. But it's showing that you mean something about letting the people decide, because you have said that people will have a bigger influence in your product. And by keeping it on Brock Lesnar, are you really showing that you're willing to change? Are you showing that you're willing to at least listen to your fans? There's no fans out there that says, "Oh, if they get it out of Brock Lesnar, I will quit watching wrestling." There's no fans that says that.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see.
You know? Oh, I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of the old shit over and over and over and over and over again.
No, that's understandable. That's totally understandable.
Yeah, now I'm just ugh.
All right. Well, this is the point where we do our plugs, so let's start plugging stuff. If you guys want to follow the show on Twitter, we are at Wrestling Show 11. You can join our open Facebook group. It is That Wrestling Show fan group. Type that in the search bar. You are right there, and join. And if you can't find it, it's okay. Click the link in the description box, and you are right there. Visit the website, thatwrestlingshow.com, and visit the Patreon page, patreon.com/Bill's World of Podcasts.
And I can promise you, listeners, that that site will have her overhealing when I come out of the hospital. That's one of the first things I will do is make that page a little different.
Yeah. So, Fro, what do you guys have on Another Digital Citizen this week?
Do you know what? We had very, 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 very interesting interview with a friend of mine called Matt Modsinger, and how he escaped religion and how he was taking advantage of in the name of religion. It is one of the most interesting interviews we have done on the podcast. So listen to his story. He has an amazing story to tell.
All right. I want to... Well, actually, let me plug first another podcast that I do. this weekend, brand new episode of Nostalgia Crew.
Yes, finally.
As this
One
weekend,
one of my favorite podcasts out there, to be honest with you, Bill.
Thank you. As this weekend, Danielle and I, this has become an annual tradition, actually, where we review a Valentine's Day special. Now, for the past 3 years, we've done Disney. This year, this is the first time we're going out of the Disney box. We are going to review the Alvin and the Chipmunks Valentine's special from 30 plus years ago. Fro, I know I would guess you have not seen this before.
I love Alvin and the Chipmunks, but no.
I'm going to post a video in the group as soon as we're done. So you guys can watch it if you have seen it and you haven't seen it in a long time, or if you're Fro, you've never seen it before. Bring back some memories. I'm going to watch it in a little bit. It's going to bring back memories for me from when I was a kid. So
when is Valentine's, by the way?
Next Thursday.
Aww.
And no, I'm not sending out any Valentines to nobody, so you can forget about it. Anyway,
I have someone I want to send a Valentine's to.
My mom, I know. Mm-hmm. Jesus. All right, let me plug some other shows that I listen to that I think you guys should check out. Our Vantage Point, the Retro Wrestling Podcast with Joe Marotta and Michael Quinn. No, is it Marotta? Yeah, I think I got it right this week. They did a very interesting review, Fro. And I know you're not into the old wrestling, but...
Well, it depends.
On the year.
Yeah.
They reviewed they reviewed a WWF show. This is basically a precursor to WWE. From 1966.
Yeah, no. Sorry, no interest.
You're going to want to hear their review, plus their latest Royal rankings, and a lot more. Also, check out Greetings from Allentown, the one-man podcast, where this week, Pete, he reviews an episode of Worldwide Wrestling from 1985. Want to check that out? Also, the wrestling podcast About Nothing with Ring of Honor superstar Brian Malonis and former independent wrestling referee Mike Crockett. They this week review a show. They're going into the territory system, Froze. They're going to review an episode of International Wrestling. And I'll also plug this show again, Cinematic Triple Threat, where twice a month Chris O'Mealy and a guest of people, they have a triple threat of 3 movies, and they pick out ultimately what they feel is the best of the 3 movies. Their first episode, and I didn't plug the first episode because I didn't really get a chance to, the original Star Wars trilogy. Which is the best of the 3? Are you a fan of A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, or Return of the Jedi?
The correct answer is
They're going to have a new episode coming out next week to sort of be along with the Valentine's Day theme. They're going to have a triple threat of romantic comedies. And this is a new podcast that I've listened to because I am a fan of movies. It is Unspooled. It is hosted... Well, I can't... One is a comedian, the other is a movie critic. And they have a mission, Fro. And that is to go through each movie of the AFI's top 100 movies of all time list.
Okay.
And this week they're doing a special episode. They're going away from talking about these movies, as they are going to talk about blockbuster movies from 2018. So check all those podcasts out. And if you have any podcasts that you think Fro and I should listen to, mention them in our Facebook group. We'll check them out.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I love podcasts. I listen to a lot of Norwegian ones that people would have absolutely no interest in. But on Spotify, it's very, very easy to find podcasting now. I have one, the Taz show. I love Taz, and the Taz show is like my other wrestling related podcast that I listen to. Do you like Taz?
Yeah, I've heard his stuff. It's good.
Yeah. Other than that, I of course listen to some Eurovision podcasting, and a lot of Norwegian ones. It's so funny. I love true crime. I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts, but mostly like when I listen to Norwegian podcasting, it's like mainly about the real football, the one you play with your feet,
your actual feet,
and not hand egg. I like podcasting and podcasts. So listen to all podcasts.
Yeah, and actually, it's a good thing you mentioned Spotify because you can listen to that wrestling show on Spotify. We're on many channels. We're on Spotify. We're on iHeart Podcasts. We're on Stitcher. We're on Google Play. We're on Podbean. And we're on iTunes. And if you listen to iTunes, type in that wrestling show, give us a good review. And if you do, maybe more people will listen and find out about this wonderful podcast that has gone for almost 400 episodes. Next week on That Wrestling Show, we are going to preview the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, where we will make our prediction as to who will be the first, of this era, WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. Plus, I will give you all a history lesson of the original WWE Women's Tag Team titles, because for some reason they're not acknowledging the original history, or at least they haven't up to this point.
Is it okay that I actually thought this was the first one?
No, it's perfectly fine.
I was like, there was something before. Really? Wow.
And we'll talk about whatever else is going on in the world of wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So, everybody, have a good, safe weekend, no matter where you are, whatever you're doing. Have fun, be safe, and when you're done, come back here next week for another episode of That Wrestling Show, the only podcast where all pro wrestling matters. And as always,
Bill's mom is hot.
Wow. Wrestle on, folks. Wrestle on.